us was 100K a month.
Okay.
And we hit that 2 years ago, 100K per month in revenue.
As a woman, never doubt the value that you bring to the table because we have two different personalities.
And the world is changing because of AI. Back in the day, entrepreneurship was risky and then jobs were safe. Now, jobs are risky. Entrepreneurship is a safety net. Our marriage is very big. It went viral. We launched the business like 2.5 weeks after our honeymoon.
Yes, we just bought a house, we just got a new car, and those bills were billing. And the only reason why I decided to keep my 9 to 5, not because I didn't believe that the business was going to work. I 100% believed in it. But the reason I kept my 9 to 5 was just to give that stability.
You need to have something that you own that no one can take from you.
Welcome to Wealth on Your Terms podcast, hosted by me, Tobi Adekeye. Today, I'm joined with Mo and Debbie, a husband and wife duo who've built and scaled $1 million business together. They're the co-founders of SkillHat Founder Studio. Right. It's good to have you in studio, Mo and Debbie.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, you've built and scaled $1 million business. Can you tell me how that started, especially as like partners, co-founders? Were you already like in the business space? Did you have businesses you had started individually, or how did you guys come together to do that?
I'll start with the mission so folks understand what we do.
Okay.
We started by launching SkillHat Tech Bootcamp. So our mission at the time, and our mission is to launch professionals into dream tech careers. So we started the bootcamp. We helped a lot of people get into really good jobs in project management, product management. Typical bootcamp, charge high ticket, and we scale that. And then there's a second part of our mission, which is to now launch these professionals into leadership and entrepreneurship. So now we launched SkillHat Founder Studio for senior professionals who want to take their skills and turn that into a high income business like we've done, right? So just the same playbook that we had. The story, though, the history of how we started is when we got married. I haven't told her this before.
Okay.
But before we got married, I had actually tried to do like an underground launch of SkillHat through like outreaching to people who wanted to get into tech. And it didn't really work as well for reasons I don't know. And then when we got married, our marriage was very big. It went viral.
You mean the wedding ceremony?
The wedding.
Yeah, the wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
We had like 600 guests.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria.
During COVID.
During COVID. Yeah. This was 2021.
Yes.
And then we had a lot of viral moments from like me just breakdancing, wearing all the nicest outfits that she planned and all that. And so I had planned to start SkillHat, like launch it after we got married. And I was like, okay, this is great. So I took the virality, all the attention, all the followers that were coming onto our page, and then we launched the business. I haven't told you this.
I know.
We launched the business like 2.5 weeks after our honeymoon.
Yes.
Okay, that's a smart move.
Yeah, and it just took off with all the virality. But of course, it wasn't about the virality, it was about the product market fit.
Yeah.
During COVID, this is when people were realizing they could work remote. They had no choice but to work remote. So remote work was growing. And so people were like, oh, I'm home, I got laid off, I work in customer service, I work in HR, now I want to get into like a remote job where I'm making even more money. Can you help me with that? And we're like, yeah, we can help you with that. This is what we do. Because I was a senior project manager. I had become a VP of a $100 billion company at the time in tech, and she was working as a senior product manager at the time. And so we just launched the business. The key thing though is I had been doing it on the side for 4 years as a partner with a different company. So I built the skill set. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave that company because of certain restrictions I had and build my own IP. And then we launched SkillHat at the time, the tech bootcamp. And now we're going into the founder studio business. And that started taking off as well, like crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you forgot the part that says, he that finds a wife finds a good thing and
obtains favor from the Lord.
So that was a favor.
That was a favor, man. I forgot to mention that part. What does that mean to you?
It means I'm favor. I'm a good thing. You know?
What does that mean for women out there who don't know their value?
I think that as a woman, never doubt the value that you bring to the table, right? And I'm thankful that beyond me knowing my worth and having knowledge of business and being able to understand the vision and support the vision, I'm thankful for a partner who was able to receive it as well. So as a woman, before you say yes to any man, that's not a relationship thing, but you have to be sure that the person sees you and sees the value that you bring to the table.
Absolutely.
I love that. So how does it feel working as co-founders? You probably have like different skills, right? Different strengths, different things you bring to the table.
It's hard, man. It's really hard. It's really hard. It's intense because I don't stop, and she's always on the go as well. So how does it feel? It feels great.
Okay.
Thankfully, thanks to God, because it is working, and we've achieved tremendous results as a couple that I struggled to achieve when I was alone, and I think the same for her.
That's right.
What are your strengths? Like, are there weaknesses, strengths where you guys then come together and that's where like it's like 1 + 1?
Yeah, let me break that down from my perspective. I think my strengths as a founder is I have vision. I have really good vision. I have a lot of technical skills with the background in IT from University of Toronto, and I know how to make money. Like I'm just good at finding market opportunities, sales, marketing. She, on the other hand, is really good at identifying risk. So she knows this is risky. Let's hedge our risk here. She's more conservative than me. And so it helps because I'm like, let's just do it. Let's just go. And she's like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that?
Yeah.
What's the backup plan here? Also, she's a woman of faith. So me, I'm like, this is the daytime. And she's like, okay, but have we prayed about it? Right? So, agreeing as a couple, praying about it, having the angle of we're going to do $1 million in 2 weeks versus, okay, we're going to pray and fast for 2 days first. It really brings it together.
Yeah.
So when we go out to the marketplace, we have effective results. What else would you say?
But what does that mean for people who, let's say they are like us and they want to start a business, or even if they're not married, they found a partner that they want to, start a business together with. Like it doesn't have to be a spouse. What does that mean? I would say that when you're looking for someone to partner with to run a business, you should actually be looking for someone who has different skills from yours. Oftentimes different personality as well, because we have two different personalities. However, the vision must be the same. There must be alignment in the vision, which is something that's worked for us. We're very different, but the vision is the same. Another thing that has worked for us, like you said, is communication, right? I remember when we started SkillHat, it was all nice and beautiful, but I said to him, there is no SkillHat if you're not going to pull out your PowerPoint and make a proper presentation to me. I want to see, where are we going?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like you're strict.
Yeah. you can't be quitting your job. Yeah. We have bills.
Okay.
This is Canada.
The context allows me to quit my job.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So it's interesting to have your spouse as your business partner. However, one of the things that you want to be intentional about is boundaries. Yeah, your business is important, but this is the order of things. God first, your partner, your spouse, and then family, and then business, or 9 to 5, whatever you decide to do, right? So you have to ensure that there are boundaries. And then you also need to know that when you're having conversations, if the conversations are, if you have different opinions, the person is not attacking your person. The person is, for lack of a better word, attacking what's not going to work in the business or what they think is not going to work in the business. So as a lady or as a partner in a business, you have to, before you start a business, you have to ensure that you are self-aware. Okay. You know your self-worth, and you truly know the business of the business that you're trying to get into. Yeah.
I love that. Quick one, this podcast is about wealth on your terms, and for a lot of people that includes real estate. I'm a licensed realtor in Ontario, and I help people think strategically about how real estate fits into their overall wealth plan, whether that be buying, investing, selling, renting, or just making smarter decisions. I'm going to be there to guide you through the numbers, ensure you understand the trade-offs and opportunity costs, so you can make informed decisions with confidence. So if you're interested in real estate, check the link in the description box or show notes. And while we're at it, if you're finding value from this podcast, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to hit the follow button and give us a 5-star review. It really goes a long way, and it ensures that we're able to put out more episodes for you, and I really appreciate it. Let's get back into the video. So talking about it, he quit his 9 to 5 for this business. How did you feel on your side of things, where you had this partner a lot of times people get married to someone, they know, okay, this person has a stable job. It's one of the reasons why they're getting married to the person, right? And then some years later, the person comes to say, oh, I have this vision, I have this dream.
Yes.
I want to go all in. I want to quit my job. How did
I think
that...
it was like 3 or 4 months after we got married.
Oh!
I'm quitting my job.
Actually, we got married in, well,
We got married in May. I
May.
quit in, I think it was August. I think it was October. We got married.
Still less than 1 year
Yeah,
after.
we got married in May. I quit my job in October, which is crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
So how did
And
it
we
go for
started
you?
SkillHat like in July.
We actually started SkillHat like
July.
in
July.
June.
Was it already
16th.
like...
Yeah, so the
profitable?
timeline is we launched it in stealth before we got married, like December of 2020, right? Then we got married in May, and we had seen the trajectory of like 7 months, and then we launched it publicly after we got married with all the virality and all the blessings, and then I quit my job after like 6 months. That was the timeline.
Yeah.
So how do you feel for you?
You quitting your job. I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah, be honest.
God, okay. How did it feel for me? Newly married, and when we were getting married, of course, the wedding was quite expensive, and we had a lot of things that we just bought a house, we just done a lot of things. We just got a new car, and those bills were billing.
Yeah. Yes.
Those bills were billing. However, we had counted our costs before all of these things.
Yeah.
So we saw that we could afford it. However, the way it's set up here is kind of monthly, right? They're going to be taking it monthly. So I said, I'm in favor of this passion and this. However, like I said, you must make a presentation to me. I want us to forecast into the future in the next 5 years. What's the trajectory of growth? How are we going to monetize this thing truly? And he did that. I saw the numbers. I did the risk analysis, and I said, okay, you know what? This is what I advise anybody. You quit your job at the point where the amount we've invested into, because it's bootstrapped, right?
Yeah.
The amount we've invested into this business, where we've been able to make that exact amount in profit. Then you quit your job. I keep my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I decided to keep my 9 to 5, not because I didn't believe that the business was going to work. I 100% believed in it. But the reason I kept my 9 to 5 was just to give that stability. 1. 2, when you're running a business, you want to ensure that the money that you're making from the business, the revenue and the profit thereafter that you're getting, is focused on investing or plowed back into the business,
Right.
so that the business can grow at the momentum that it's supposed to grow. Right? If you're taking your monthly bills, your weekly bills, your grocery money from that, business is going nowhere. You're not going to be able to scale.
It's gonna be harder, to
Right?
scale.
Yep.
Exactly.
Just
So-
to explain what we reinvested in, you have to reinvest in beating your competitors, right? Because once you start doing something that's going well, especially if you're Nigerian, this thing is making money. Everybody's going in. Let's just copy the team. And so you have to move fast.
Yes.
You have to move fast. Ideas mean nothing. Execution is everything. And you don't execute by yourself. You execute
Right.
with a team
Yes.
and with inventory and with assets. So we reinvested in, taking the profit, not taking the profit to Gucci, taking the profit into brand, investing in people. So we hired other leaders to come. We invested in other programs. We started off with business analysis, project management. Then we launched other programs like UX design, web development. Now we're doing cybersecurity and AI. And so we had to reinvest in those things. Also marketing spend, we scaled us to get the 100K in revenue a month. You're spending 10K, 20K in ads per month,
Yeah.
right? Because people don't just come and knock all the time. You have to force the growth.
Right.
And so that's the point of why she's talking about how diversification is important. Hedging your risk is important so that you have your bills taken care of with one income stream and the other income stream funds the growth.
Yeah. And forget about the emotions, forget about the sentiments. When you're running business, you focus on the numbers, you focus on the data. If it's not doing well, don't be afraid to pull the plug temporarily and re-strategize and then go back.
That's one way that we're different as well. I think initially I'm like, I can work my ass off and I'm like, I have vision, I have belief, and I would just keep pushing through. But she's quick to say, hey, this thing isn't working, we're going to crush
She's
it.
a product manager.
Yeah.
I'm a product manager as well. So it's like data
Yeah,
driven.
but me, I'm like visionary. I'm like, no, like this is the mission. So that was a bit of a difference between us that helped in making some tough decisions that we end up having to make for certain things that we're working but not at the degree of others. And it's like, well, if this one is making 2x, this one's making 10x, or we're spending the same, let's just double down on the one that's doing 10x.
Right. Right. I love that. And I love the power of dual income. It's something I've been thinking of lately. And I'm like, wow, it's nice to have someone else to support your dreams. Because when I was quitting my job, I was like, I don't have someone else to rely on in the short term,
economy
right?
was built for dual income.
Yeah.
If you're a single
Canadian
person
economy.
in Canada and you're doing well, you have property, you have a business, man, kudos to you. I got to give it up to any kind of single woman. SkillHat has helped. We specifically invested a lot in women when
I've
we
seen that,
started.
yeah.
We had women campaign, women scholarships, because we saw the data that when women are empowered to have remote jobs, have high income, women are go-getters, especially like African Black women. Whew, you don't want to mess with them. And so we've helped a lot of women, you know, with going from making 30K, 40K a year to making 100K a year, 200K, 300K a year.
Wow.
And then they're buying houses in Lakeshore, they're buying cars, they're looking good. I'm like, wow, God helped us do this.
I love that.
So that's what the Canadian economy was built for, that dual income, but with high leverage, with things we're going to talk about today, with building businesses, you know, you can make a dent even with one person, but then when you have two, you can take over the world.
That's right.
Let's move into the next segment, which is just like talking about, because for SkillHat, you started with getting people into high-paying tech fields, tech jobs. Then you moved into another branch, which was, correct me if I'm wrong, getting people into like senior leadership roles in tech.
That's correct.
Why did you make that transition first before we move into the next one? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's just business. Customers tell you what they want. So our customers, we train thousands of people at this point. It's gonna be 5 years in June of this year. March 2021 or 2026. So they were like, hey, I'm doing well now, Mo. You trained me 3 years ago. I've been a project manager. I just got a senior project manager role. I'm doing well, but what's next for me?
Okay.
So we said, okay, well, we can help you become a director, right? This is what I've done. I became a VP of a $100 billion company at, I think, 29 years old. There's a certain framework. There's certain things you have to do. So we launched a program called 7-Figure Boardroom, which enabled people to do that. We only had a 6-month pilot cohort, and we saw tremendous results with that. We helped folks build their leadership skills, their influence, their expertise, being able to control the room, control the narrative, and be bold and build your influence. So that was the reason the customers asked for it, and we delivered on that. And now we're taking it to another level with helping those folks become entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Before we dive into that, so why did you now move from like the exec position into entrepreneurs?
Yeah,
Was there
because
anything
same
from the
thing.
market?
The market said it. The data showed it. I tell everyone, like, if you're gonna make a decision or invest somewhere, you need to have data. You need to have dollars. People are willing to pay you, or the data's showing it. We had both. So because I come on all these podcasts, I speak at conferences about what we've done with SkillHat. A lot of the tech professionals will walk up to me and say, "Hey Mo, like, I want to be like you in the sense that I envy your business model. They will tell me these things. Like, I want to have my own business. I want to have ownership. I want to have control." I wake up in the morning. They tell me I wake up in the morning. I see an email from HR. I'm like, I'm shaking. Like, what is this email? I'm not even opening the email. I have to go and pray first before I open the email. And so they're like, I don't want to have lack of control over my income, and I want to have different income streams. I don't want to have 2-3 jobs like I've been doing. I'm burnt out. How can I take my skills and convert that to an offer? Some even have an offer, right? Some are consultants. Some are, like, there's a guy who we work with in the UK, Dr. Victor. He was a PhD in data science. He built a data science bootcamp, and the bootcamp was not doing as well as he wanted it to, even though people were getting jobs, but he wasn't making as much money from the bootcamp, and he was making money in his job. So we worked with him and we improved his offer. I'm like, your price is too low. We tripled his price. He was like, will they pay? I'm like, they will pay.
You find the right people.
You have value.
Yeah,
Build the confidence, improve the offer, improve the pricing terms, locked on a specific kind of customer. And he tripled his revenue in less than 3 months, just improving the offer alone. We even fixed his leads machine, or we fixed his sales process as well, and he tripled his revenue. We had another customer who onboarded into Founder Studio. She was the leader at Amazon. And as we all know, Amazon laid off 14,000 people in a short time. I think that they keep laying off more people, and they're investing into AI. And she had just moved from Canada to New York for this job. As soon as she got there, boom, they laid everybody off in her team. but they kept her.
Okay.
Oh,
So she was still,
was so scared.
she was like, man, I need to have something I own. And here's the point I'm trying to make to everyone. You need to have something that you own that no one can take from you.
that's right.
Yeah.
You being a tech contractor is fantastic. Tech contractors make shit tons of money. $100 an hour, $170 an hour, $250 an hour. That's like $500,000 a year. That's great. But in order to make more money, you have to trade more time. You have to work more to make more money. Again, nothing wrong with that. And they could take it from you. They could take the contract from you, right? They could take the job from you. But when you have your own offer, your own business, you're solving a very specific problem. I help businesses with email marketing, or I help, it could be your offer. I help people learn this. Your offer. Now you can scale that. You can aggressively grow that, get your own clients, manage them to perfection, and keep them and grow that book of business. And you can even do that on the side with your main full-time thing. So with the way the market's going, layoffs, AI changing the job market, is ownership is not optional anymore. In my perspective, it is mandatory.
I agree.
You need to have something that you own that no one can take from you. And so the data showed that this is where the market was going, and people were actively messaging me every single day to say, hey, can you help me grow my business? Or can you help me launch my business?
People actually stop him at church just to
Yeah.
like, talk about
Yeah.
like their business and how they can start their business.
In church, right?
Yeah,
in church,
after
yeah.
church, right? After church service.
Yeah. Like after church service, it's always like a lineup.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all the time conferences. I'm like, oh, this is like obvious. We should
Yeah.
just start helping people. And I think for me, I also had my eyes open to opportunities when I started going to the US a lot.
Okay.
And I started seeing some crazy stuff, man.
Like what?
Like I saw a 19-year-old making $700K a month
Wow.
doing an ad agency. I saw a guy, Eric Michaels, shout out to Eric Michaels. He went from making $30K a month with his business to $1 million a month. And what does he do? Eric trains people on how to trade baseball cards. Things that I'm like,
That's so niche. What?
things that I'm like, I thought would never make any money.
Yeah.
They're making $1 million a month.
Wow.
Obviously, it's a big market in the US, and baseball cards are huge. Pokemon cards are huge. People who are training people on stocks, investing, doing $300K a month.
Yeah.
I just started seeing some crazy numbers. And so that stuff I wasn't seeing here in Canada in terms of like young people betting on themselves, going at it. And it's a global market. Like
Yep.
you can tap into the US market if
Yeah.
you're here. Like a lot of our customers are in the US with Founder Studio and the Tech Bootcamp. And so I started seeing these playbooks that we started implementing, and they're not so hard to implement, right? So we've even made them better with AI. We can use AI now to figure out the right offer for you and the right lead magnet for you and the right content itself, things of that nature. So just the leverage that you get with having the right offer, the right leads machine, the right sales, and being able to fulfill at scale. You know, with Founder Studio right now, we're helping folks get to $10K a month in 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
Like we're seeing some crazy results because we have a 3-client 10K 14-day sprint that we run with people who want to take their skills and turn into an offer and close their own clients.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I forgot the story of the lady who was at Amazon.
New York, yeah.
She, within 24 hours of her onboarding call to Founder Studio, she closed a $30K deal in 24 hours.
That's right. That's
She
right.
she had a call with our chief revenue officer. They onboarded her. In fact, the truth is she hadn't been onboarded. It was the sales call to get her in.
I was gonna say.
While she was making a decision to join, she's like, let me message founders in New York who want email marketing.
Okay,
There's
so she's
fashion
offering
brands.
email
She offers email marketing
Yeah.
as a service. She does that for Amazon.
Amazon. Oh, okay. That makes
And she's like, well, in fact, on her call with our team, she's like, I don't know if I have an offer. What can I sell? And my colleague was like, hey, if Amazon's paying you $200K a year to do email marketing or copy or whatever you're doing, there's people out there who will pay you a fraction of that for your skill set
right.
and for the expertise and the exposure you have with an Amazon. So she that same night messaged a bunch of fashion brands in New York. One of them messaged back the next morning saying, yeah, we do want email marketing. We have campaigns launching. We have no one to own this for us. Can you help? And she's like, yes, I can help. She pitched them that same night. So 24 hours after her call with us, she said she'll do for $3K a month. And they came back at $2,700 a month.
Okay.
And that's $30K deal a year that she closed in 24 hours.
Wow.
So like,
Using some of the things that our chief revenue officer told her on the call.
Okay.
she pretty much just copied our whole pitch to her and our framework and how we pitch
it.
and like the coaching they gave her on the call. And she's like, this is incredible. I'm in. And then she joined, and then we're now helping her fulfill that client and scale the other clients.
Exactly. The whole system.
The whole system. That's good. Why do you think people are now, because we grew up thinking 9 to 5 was very safe. 9 to 5 was the safe path. Having a business was the uncertain path.
Yeah.
So why do you think people are now trying to have a business or build something on the side?
Yeah, I could take that.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
Yeah.
Like when our parents, like my parents, my dad, our parents, many of us worked in the same company. Like I worked in Shell for 30 years.
I don't know how they.
They worked in the same company for a donkey years. And that was the way to go back then. That was the culture, and that made sense.
Yes.
But things have changed. The one thing that's constant in life is change. And so when we were growing up, like when I say we, I mean the millennials, Gen Zs, not really Gen Zs, more so millennials, and those who are after. I think they call them Gen Y or whatever. Especially if you're between 25 and like 45, you grew up thinking that, oh, if I get a really good job out of Twitter or Facebook or the government, I'm really safe. Well, we just saw Meta laid off tons of people.
Yeah.
So did X. So did Amazon, right? So did, like, there's nowhere is safe now, and the world is changing because of AI. And so I guess the real point here is that back in the day, entrepreneurship was risky, and then jobs were safe. Now, jobs are risky. Entrepreneurship is a safety net. The world has changed. And why? What really happened? What really happened is that before, you had to go all in. If you recall, back in high school, when they taught you about entrepreneurship, they would say you need to have land. You need to have capital.
Oh, yeah, true.
You need to have all these things.
Yeah. Brick and
The
mortar
entrepreneur
business,
is the one taking the risk.
True.
You have to have brick and mortar was the game. You had to invest a lot. You had to go all in.
Yes.
You couldn't like do it on the side. You had to go all in and raise a bunch of money. And even with like startups, tech startups, you have to raise a lot of money. But now the cost of being a founder, like the cost to invest has dramatically gone down because of distribution systems. You could run ads to get your clients. Like back then you had to run, like my dad was an entrepreneur. I remember him running ads on newspapers.
Oh, okay.
Paying like tens of thousands of dollars to be on newspapers, billboards. That was how he advertised his business, right? But now you can spend $1,000 you can spend $100 to get a customer on Facebook, on Amazon. And then also you can use AI to deliver your service, to run your operations, to keep things lean, right? There's all these other tools you can use to manage your team. There's AI tools we use to manage our team. So I don't have to hire as many managers. I have AI that tracks what's happening as far as like my sales team's calls, customer success. I get reports from my AI to see what's happening. And so the cost of being a founder is much lower, but the upside is so much higher now also because of AI. And the context is there's so many small businesses who want technology, who want services, and now because of AI, they get so much benefit. Think about like pharmacies, think about mom and pop shops, dollar stores. They need tools that help them in their operations. And these tools are so efficient, but they can't do it themselves. And so the point is there's now a massive opportunity if you have really good skills in like tech, marketing, finance, security. There's tons of companies who want that and don't need to hire a full-time person. They just want your expertise in a way that promises the outcome, reduces the risk, delivers value in a short time. And so the goal is to just take your skills, make it an offer, and you could be successful with something that you own. I hope that answers your question.
That does. A lot of people would be watching now because at the end of the day, when it comes to like building wealth, I think the most important thing is actually your income, what comes in, whether that's like via business, 9 to 5. You should still invest even if you're low income, but it's really about, that's where your leverage is. And some people might be watching now. A lot of people might be in the 9 to 5. They've been trying to be entrepreneurs, trying to build a business on the side. What's something you feel is holding people back, just from your experience and conversations with people? What do you think is holding people back, and how can they work on it, if anything comes to mind?
A couple of things that I know that hold people back, not having a great offer is one. another thing that I think hold people back from starting their businesses is just that uncertainty, the not being able to take the risk.
Okay.
And as much as this might not apply to other people, I think that as once you're able to start, it's important that you find a way to outsource or get a team, right? And a team can just be 2 persons.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, depending on how much you're making or how much you've been able to put together, like bootstrapped or grants, whatever it is that you have. You can get the labor from a relatively cheaper market, right? So I think Mo can speak to the offer and things like that, but in my opinion, these are the things that delay people from actually getting started. And when I talk about team, like people have this mindset where, yeah, I'm the CEO, I'm the one with the idea, nobody gets it. Hello, your work as the founder is to set the direction, to communicate the vision. You actually need to hire people that are much smarter than you are, because you can't be. A lot of entrepreneurs try to be the entirety of the business. They try to be the marketer, they try to be the technology person, they try to be the data person, the finance person, and that's why the business is not starting and it's not even growing or scaling.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the things I think is like a bottleneck that doesn't let people get past where they are to where they need to be. But I think you can talk about the offer.
Yeah. So she said 3 things. She said the offer. She said the being risk averse.
Yeah.
And she said like not having a team or even having a team oriented mindset. And those are definitely some of the blockers that we see.
Before we move forward, I just want to. What is an offer?
I love that question.
You know what?
I love that question.
Before I got into the entrepreneurship space, I didn't hear offer like that term. Yeah. It wasn't until like maybe 2 years ago I heard people say offer. But obviously I understand what it is now, but just for people watching.
Yeah, great question.
What is an offer?
Yeah, the offer itself was something that got really popular with the godfathers of marketing, Russell Brunson and Alex Hormozy. But the offer is essentially your promise. So let's talk about what is not an offer.
Okay.
Most people have skills. Skills are not an offer. So you see a portfolio or a LinkedIn profile that says, I'm a business analyst, I do operations. But the offer is I help specific person with a specific pain solve specific problem.
Okay.
Which includes, the offer also includes other things like your guarantee, your risk reversal, your price, your terms, the urgency, the scarcity. There's like 16 to 18 elements of a good offer that makes it an offer. Yeah. But the thing is not about making an offer. It's about making an offer so good, your clients feel stupid saying no.
That's it.
Which is what's called a grand slam offer.
Yeah.
And so you have to decide, how could I make an offer so good that when people see this, they feel stupid saying no, right? Because it solves their problem.
Yeah.
And so that's what an offer is. Again, I help X person. So you have to be very clear. The beginning of the offer is like, be clear the pain you want to solve. Like, what is the pain you want to solve? Because no pain, no sale. And when you know the pain you want to solve, who has that pain? So getting into a niche. And people think a niche is like, I focus on this dental industry, or I focus on this mid-market. That's not a niche. A niche is a painful problem you solve for a person with money where the cost of delay is even higher than your solution. Say it again.
I like
a
that.
niche is a painful problem you solve for a person with money where the cost of delay is higher than your solution. That is a niche. And so you have to find that niche where the pain is so painful. It's like, think about doctors, right? Dentists. If you have something in your tooth that hurts, even if they're saying it's 5K, take my 5K.
Yeah.
I just need this thing gone.
Yeah.
Right? And so doctors are printing money because they have an offer.
True.
And so a lot of professionals don't understand that switch. Yeah. They just think, oh, I'm a product manager.
I'm good at this.
Yeah, I'm good at this. You tell me what to do. I'll come to your company. Tell me what to do.
Yes.
But that's not it. You go tell the customer what their pain is, or you articulate what you know as the pain, or they know I have this pain. Here's my solution. Here's my guarantee. Here's the terms. And I solve this in this time. And I guarantee if it doesn't work, here's what will happen. So they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to do this because it makes sense to solve my problem.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. For professionals who want to launch or scale their business, even people who have a business, we always improve their offer.
Yeah.
Because even like I'll tell you, last year, Like everyone knows in the bootcamp business, one of the best. And our offer was, we'll help you get a tech job and all that. But the truth is, last year we start to see our business was not just going like this again. It was going like this, like this. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I was making excuses. I'm like, oh, the market is bad. It's this, it's AI, it's competitive. My coach was like, hey, listen, you need to improve your offer. The market's changed, right? So I went back, spent a week, like went into the cave, improved the offer, did another webinar. And, that night we collected more cash than ever in my whole life in one night, just by improving the offer.
What do you mean by improving the offer?
I love that
There are
question.
probably different elements and different things you can pull on. What
So there's many elements of the offer. I think a few levers is, one is the urgency. Like, how do you frame the urgency of buying? It could also be a price, right? You can say if you buy it, like the one thing we did was we had a scholarship campaign where if you bought the program at this time, you can bring a friend to take X part. People are like, oh, I could bring a friend and I get this scholarship and this and that and this and that. And you help me get a job and you help me with coaching and you help me with interviews and you help me with this. So adding different value adds to the offer that reduce the pain of the customer. Think about it in this way. The first thing is the desired outcome of the person you're solving the problem for. What do they want? And then what are the problems that they'll face as they try to achieve the outcome they want? So the more problems you can solve for them before the outcome and even after the outcome, the more valuable. A good example is like in our tech bootcamp business, people were like, I don't know what I should even do. I don't know if I should do cybersecurity or a product, or we have a quiz that helps you figure it out. That improves the offer. Then they say, okay, I don't know if I can learn this by myself, or we have a buddy system. Well, I don't know if I'm going to get a job. Well, you will, because we have coaching. I don't know if I can do a resume. We have AI that does it for you. So the more things you add that are valuable in solving the problem that your audience have, the more valuable the offer. And then the other thing is reducing pain of the customer. So how do you reduce the effort and time? Because a lot of people don't realize that the biggest reason people don't buy beyond the risk is the sacrifice and the pain they have to go through to get the solution you want. Think about fitness, right? No matter how good the gym is, people are like, I still have to work out.
Yeah.
I want to lose weight, but I still have to work out. Can you just give me a pill I can swallow and I'll just lose the weight? And then Ozempic comes and it's like, yes, you can actually help you just lose the weight like that. So that's why, businesses like Ozempic and for example, surgeons charge 20,000 times more than a physical trainer at the gym, because you're reducing the effort and the sacrifice and the time to value of the person who wants to lose the weight.
Right.
So think about, how can I increase the chances of success by removing the problems that they'll have? How can I reduce the effort and sacrifice of my customer and the time to value? The more you reduce time to value and effort, the more you increase chance of success, the more valuable the offer. Right. And there's 16 other elements of a good offer that we walk you through in Founder Studio and help you implement in your business so you have a grand slam offer.
Oh, okay.
And I was just going to pick on something he said. You said you spoke to your coach. One of the things that entrepreneurs take for granted is having a verified coach. And I say verified because it's not just a coach you pick based on your emotions or your family lineage or whatever.
It's not your uncle that hammered 1 year like this. You're thinking, this guy hammered.
Or you just found on social media that's giving motivational speech. No, that's not it. You pick your coach. So far, the coach's present is the future that you're working towards.
Right.
That's hard.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
So in business, so far the coach's present is the future that you're working towards, particularly in your business, right?
Can I add one more thing? The coach's past. The coach's previous life is what you want to go. That's even like the next level.
Exactly.
They will achieve beyond what I want.
Like they're like five steps ahead.
Exactly.
6, 10 steps. Okay.
Exactly. So please don't undermine it. If you're an entrepreneur out there, and I let me just add this side eye, but if you're a Black entrepreneur, please, coaching is highly essential. And that's one of the things that change the trajectory of our business when we're trying to scale. It's expedient that you have a coach before you start. It's also expedient that you have a coach as you try to scale, because they have scaled through so many factors and so many markets, demands, and what have you. So they understand it. So why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? Why are you trying to make the same mistakes when you can actually get a coach? Now, the thing is, I know people want to, however, people don't like to pay for. So I don't want to get into the numbers, but I can tell you that if you're trying to make 6 figures in your business in a month, you're most likely going to be paying 5 figures to a coach to get you there. And don't hesitate. What I'll say is verify that this person is who they say they are. That's it.
I love that. I'll touch on it because I grew up 9 to 5 corporates. My goal was always like to be a director. I never thought of entrepreneurship. Like I remember 5 years ago, I told my friend is entrepreneur, big on entrepreneurship. And I was like, I'll never be an entrepreneur.
You said that, but then you're doing that right now.
And I feel like last year I went through the phase of actually that identity shift because even with outsourcing, I did everything myself. The podcast, I would edit videos myself. I would do the scripting. I did everything myself. And then even real estate, I was doing everything myself. And I just had to come to the terms that to make money in business, you kind of have to spend money. And that mindset shift of like scarcity into abundance is what I've actually been going through. So I finally outsourced. I now have an assistant, someone doing the editing, and coaching is my next level. I'm still not there yet, but hopefully.
But what was the shift for you though? Like you said, you never wanted to be an entrepreneur, but then you became an entrepreneur. What shifted for you that made you feel like this is what you wanted to do?
I think just the reality of how uncertain the 9 to 5 path was in this day and age. It's like this thing that seemed so secure is actually not secure anymore. Times have changed, things have changed, and it was like seeing people get laid off. People, especially when I saw people that had spent 20 years in a company getting laid off. And I'm like, so what's actually the whole point of it? I might as well like do entrepreneurship, which is uncertain, because 9 to 5 is also uncertain. Anytime my manager like set up a meeting with me, I would freak out because I'm like, is he about to like fire me or stuff? So I'm just like, you know what? I might as well just be stressed doing entrepreneurship and do the same.
And have more. So what upside did you see? So you saw there was a downside of like there's still risk on both sides. So what upside did you see?
Obviously, like there's no earning cap, like potential, like there's no earning cap with it. We are 9 to 5. I was working way more than 40 hours a week every single week. And I'm like, if I put this into entrepreneurship, I know I'm hardworking enough. I'm someone that figures things out. Obviously, things might not work out the first time, right? And then I'll go back to 9 to 5, but I'll try it again. And I was like, let me just see how it goes. And so far it has been going good. Hopefully I don't have to go back, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this is for anyone that has been thinking of like being on the fence of like 9 to 5 versus entrepreneurship. And we'll touch on it because I know you guys work with a lot of people that's like, they're still doing 9 to 5. I'm not saying quit and go into entrepreneurship, but they're now like, they now have ownership, something on the side that they're doing, which is what you're helping them with. So we'll touch on that. But yeah.
And I just wanted to quickly add again that, you know how you said, hey, if I start the business, it doesn't work, I can go back to my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I always like to tell people nothing is ever wasted.
Yes.
Yeah. Whether you believe in God or not, but I'll say that God is not a waster of resources, right? So whatever it is that you've done that seemed not to have worked in that season, there is a learning you want to take from it and then run with it for the next season. It's most likely going to be applicable in the next season to be successful.
I love that. And that brings me back to, because each day, I know we're going into like other directions now, but like each day I realize how my 9 to 5 actually prepared me for this. Sometimes people feel like, oh, I wasted my time in 9 to 5, but it has helped me to be professional. I was a product manager. A lot of this podcast growth has been with data, understanding data. I worked in growth product management. I did like 6 months. I actually didn't even like being a growth product manager, but I was like, I think God placed me there to know how to grow a business because now with the growth aspect of things, understanding psychology, marketing, I have a lot of knowledge from that, incentives. And I'm just like, wow, this is so crazy how God was preparing me for this. And everything just comes together after a while, you just realize it. Quick pause before we jump back into the episode. This podcast is about building wealth on your terms, and for a lot of people, that includes real estate. So if you're interested in real estate and want to connect, check the link in the description box or show notes. If you find this podcast valuable and you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button and subscribe button. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give us a follow and leave a 5-star review for us. You're very vocal about this on LinkedIn, about how Canadians are risk averse compared to US. You went to invest first. I remember that post about it. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
What have you seen with Canadians and how can they overcome that risk? Why is that risk even there?
Yeah, I think so. What I did say is that I went to the US a lot. I went to the US like 5 times last year. I got flown out there to speak at different conferences, and I went there myself to meet coaches. And I just started seeing business done by young people at a scale I wasn't seeing here in Canada. And it comes down to a few things. There's root causes, but the root causes, it's not about what's the root causes. I mean, the root causes are important, so I'll share, and then we'll talk about what we do next.
Yes.
The difference is that in the US, it's easier to raise capital. It's easier to get people to say yes. Like in our SkillHat Tech Bootcamp business, we would have US customers like, man, I saw a video. She making $300K. I want to do a boot camp too. Let's do. How much is it? It's $10K. Shit. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
But Canadians gonna have a discount. What's the guarantee? Mo? What's the guarantee? And there's nothing wrong with being risk averse. But I think from my experience, if you're overly risk averse and you're not bold, no risk, no reward. So you have to be willing to take big, calculated risks, like incremental risks, right? Like I don't have too many entrepreneur friends at all in Canada, but when I was in Nigeria, and I think for me, what hurts me and what pains me is I came from Nigeria. So if you've lived in Nigeria, you understand the hustle culture. Now that one in Nigeria is because they have no choice. You have to be an entrepreneur. But at least it's in the DNA. Everyone has some side business. Everyone is building something. So in Nigeria, I work with Inya Boyeji of Vandela. Okay. I work with Bumi Akiyemiju of Venture Garden Group, a bunch of really smart guys who grew me to become what I am today, working for them. But they were young. Like when I worked with Jeremy Johnson of Vandela, he was 24, raising 4 million, 10 million, 20 million, 100 million, right? Bumi Akiyemiju, his company was $100 million worth when he was 35. My age now, it's crazy. So I had seen these things in Nigeria. So I came back to Canada and I'm like seeing people who are just like, not willing to take any risks. The one thing Canadians like is just real estate investment, which is great. Do that. But I wasn't seeing enough people building businesses. And business building is very important because it sparks the economy. It helps people get hired. Right? And it helps you make more money, period, if you do it right. There's upside, and it helps you achieve your potential. There's, like when I was in my last full-time job, 5 years ago, I had a lot of creative ideas, a lot of things I wanted to do, but I was waiting for approval, waiting for some manager in New Zealand to say yes.
Yeah.
Who doesn't even know what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Right? And so that was my whole grief with it. I just saw what was happening in Nigeria and the US. I'm like, it's not happening in Canada at this scale. So I was talking about it more because I was frustrated. And the Canadian culture, the Canadian government, there's a lot of regulations that they put that strangle founders. I've experienced this myself with regulations in the edtech space around how you advertise, what you can do, that make it harder. Now, these regulations don't exist in the US. In the US, it's an open market to do certain things that you can't do in Canada.
Okay.
And so that became why I started talking about it, because I got frustrated. And so I think really what my advice is to Canadians is to just be aware that today there's no safe place but what you own and what you control, and be open to taking bigger risks. There's also not that culture of entrepreneurs. So we're building out that culture now with Founder Studio. We're trying to get more entrepreneurs, more Black entrepreneurs together to really understand the core tenets of offer creation, lead generation, sales, and fulfillment. It's just 4 things you have to do to build a business and scale that. And so that's my grief, and that's what we're trying to implement here in Canada and in the US. Just so we're clear, we have a lot of US founders who work with us, but I live in Canada. Yeah. So you can't lose your games at home. You have to win your home games and win your away games. So that's the game we're playing.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add on with like Canadian risk?
I just think there's not enough disposable income.
That's the truth.
That's true.
And when there's not enough, people are going to struggle, especially when they have responsibilities. right? And when you have mortgage and those things, because the way it's set up here, like we alluded to at the beginning, if it's not a dual income home, for us it was dual, it's still dual, it will be dual forever. It was kind of easier that way. But if it's just one person, there's a lot of factors that come to play, right? Yeah. So what I would just say is just to encourage people that if only you can looking beyond all that. I think it's time for you to walk up to people, walk up to organizations, document the value that you bring to the table. Look for grants, look for funding. Is it funding? They call it funds, rather. Sorry, look for funds. Maybe even get loans from banks, negotiate the interest rate, things like that. And let's see where. And by the way, you don't have to just stay within Canada, right? You could look for some of these grants outside of Canada that don't have any jurisdiction around who they can give them to, right? At the end of the day, what's important is you're driving value, and value is global. Value has no boundaries, so to say, right? So if the value that you're bringing to the table is needed by someone, there's demand for it somewhere outside of Canada, at the end of the day, you're going to be paying tax to the Canadian government. So it's still beneficial to the government, it's beneficial to the people, and it's beneficial to yourself.
Yeah, and I agree. I think sometimes I'm very hard on people who are risk averse and Canadians in general because of my nature. But the truth is, I analyze the data, and Canada does make ambition feel risky because the cost of living is so high.
Sure.
Right? You have people with mortgages $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 per month in mortgage. You have people who put their kids in private school because the public schools are not as good as they used to be.
Yeah.
So now you have all these bills and you're like, let me just keep this one job that's working for me, which is why the dual income thing is very good. If both parties have, one party has sustainable income, one is like building out a business. And we've also seen that there's a monopoly or oligopoly. So across all sectors.
Yep.
Think about the banks. There's like 4 or 5 banks, TD, RBC, and the other bank.
Yeah.
There's like 5 banks. Think about food, right? There's like Loblaw, I think Metro, and like another one, Sobeys, I think. Like 3 main companies. You think there's no frills, that's what makes it's the same company.
They own it, yeah.
Think about telecoms. It's really Rogers, Bell. Bell owns Fido, by the way.
Yep.
And I think one more. Think about insurance. There's like 3 or 4, Intact and, whoever. So end of the day, why is this a big deal? It's not like that in the US. In the US, there's at least 20 plus banks. And so data shows that when all the power doesn't sit with a few businesses and there's more competition, it benefits the customers because because of more competition, they have to be more friendly to the customers. There's innovation.
Yes.
Yeah. There's better offers for individuals. They have more choice. And so because all the power is centralized across big institutions in Canada, that's how it was built by design to centralize certain institutions. It doesn't make it easier. Like if I started a food company today, if I started a distribution company for canned food, for tuna, for example, I can only sell to 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
If they don't buy, then I'm cooked.
Yeah.
But in the US, you can sell to HEB, Walmart, different people. So now you have options. So it's easier to also be a business owner because you have more customers. And it's a bigger market as well.
Yeah.
That's
right? There's like, is it 300 million people in the US,
people,
30 million plus in Canada, so 10x the stuff.
Yep.
And I'll also say one more thing. The geography of Canada is tough. It's freaking cold. It's really cold. To fly from where I am in Toronto to Vancouver, I think it's a 5-hour flight.
Yeah, might as well go to London.
And it's expensive.
Yeah.
I might as well just go to Mexico for 2 hours and have a margarita and be on the beach. SkillHat on the beach. Then go to cold ass Vancouver where the cost of a house is 1.2 million for a 3-bedroom.
Yep.
So, these are the structural things that we see. But at the same time, the Bible says a man who just keeps looking at the wind won't plant. You have to plant and take a position.
That's right.
Even in spite of the fear, because courage is not doing things because of no fear. It's doing things
in spite of fear.
In spite of fear.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So now talking about we've spoken about entrepreneurship. Some people might be interested. I attended Tobi's conference and you spoke about the 3 income earners, the different lanes. I really want you to touch on that because I think that was really inspiring for a lot of people that attended it.
Yeah. So I learned this concept of 3 types of income earners. There's the sidewalk.
Okay.
There's the slow lane, and there's the fast lane, right? The sidewalk is people who are low income earners. If you're watching this podcast, you're probably not there.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yep.
Right. So I'll skip to the middle one, which is the slow lane. The slow lane is when you don't have a business system. That's just what it is. You don't have a business system that makes money outside of you. So you could be working in a really good job and have high income, but the data showed that in the last 10, 20 years, people who are 65 and older could not retire. Didn't have as much money as they thought that they would at retirement age. So we see all these old people working at Walmart, at the dollar stores. Nothing wrong with that necessarily, but that's not where I personally want to be when I'm 65, personally, right? And the reason is because it's hard to save your way into financial success. You have to almost invest your way and build your way into it through making money outside of yourself, outside of your labor. Because if every dollar you make, you have to spend more effort making it, you don't have leverage. And so a business system is a way that makes money when you're not there, right? So let's use the example, and this doesn't mean self-employed, by the way. So whether you're working a full-time job or you're self-employed, like you're a plumber or a barber, as long as you don't have a system that makes money outside of you, you are in the slow lane, according to MJ DeMarco's book, Millionaire Fastlane.
Yeah.
Let's give the example. Let's say there's a plumber, right? He's a plumber. He's making tons of money, $100 an hour, fix tons of toilets every single day. He goes on a vacation to Thailand for 2 months just to hang out. Well, he doesn't have more money coming in because he's not fixing toilets.
Yep.
To make the next dollar, he probably has to go fix a toilet in Thailand or come back. That's being in the slow lane, right? Whereas think of another situation with a barber versus a hair salon owner. Now we talk about the fast lane, right? This is where we want to be, baby. The fast lane is where you have a system that makes money outside of you, a business essentially, or investments that is scaling and is making money even when you're not doing more work. And so the idea is, think of a barbershop. You own a barbershop. You have barbers cutting hair. They're paying you rent for the chair. And you have products you're selling. You charge a markup on that. So now you can go to Thailand for a month and just have your cameras there watching the barbers cut hair. And you're making money on that, right? And so that's my advice to. So I saw this. The book is Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. If you read that book, you will not sleep till you start a business. Because you start to see the challenges that come with not having a system. You're like, so I've been doing this work forever.
Yep.
And if that's your choice, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, just
at
need
least
to
it's good to
decide.
be aware.
There's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with
No,
it.
it's good to be aware so you know that you know the lane you're on.
And I'm not saying you have
the other options.
Yes, and I'm not saying you have to build a business. Like being on the fast lane doesn't mean you have to have a startup. It means you have to have a system
outside
that generates money outside of your effort.
Right.
It could be real estate investments.
Yeah.
It could be stock.
Exactly.
It could be, set up a studio.
Yeah.
It could be whatever. That's a system that works. And you have to build system, right? There's all that whole passive income stuff people used to sell is not really real.
There's
a bunch of baloney.
Yeah.
Build a system. It could be an e-commerce store, but you have to have you must. I'm telling you, must.
And if you feel like that's what you want to do, then just come over to us. We'll help you.
Exactly.
Basically.
I like that. Let's not.
I like that.
Let me just stop encouraging you to figure it out and just say, let's help you do it. Because I know I can be very encouraging and motivating because this is what I've seen. I've seen people struggle with things they shouldn't struggle with. I've seen potentially get wasted, so I can be very passionate. And I don't sugarcoat things. Like, this is where the world's going. This is what you have to do if you want to secure your future. And you have to hedge your risk as well, because entrepreneurship is risky.
Yeah.
So how do you hedge that risk, right?
I like that.
We invest in real estate. That's what I'll tell you.
Okay.
We take a lot of our
The
profits
chief
and we.
investor.
She's our portfolio manager.
Oh, okay.
She's dealing with all these tenants.
So you manage the property yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
how
I'm
many
playing-
do you, how many?
We don't share.
Okay,
We don't share
that's
that.
fine.
We don't share that. But so we're not just doing startup and business. We
so
take a lot of the profits and we invest in real
estate.
estate because that's also gonna that's another system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then now we're going to other things as well. So just to be clear, there's risk everywhere.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
saying hedge your risk, build systems that compound over time. That's my message.
I like that because everything, as we mentioned, 9 to 5 is risky. Real estate is risky. The market right now,
You will pray,
businesses,
you analyze,
everything is
you
risky.
bet.
So you just spread your risk.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a partner, it's like two people spreading risk together. I like that. And there was something you spoke about. It's like, if I'm someone that wants to make $1 million, how can I make my first million if I want to?
Yeah, I like that. $1 million is like, it's just like a big number, right?
Yeah.
But what does that really mean? I like to talk about it as like income per month, because the way money flows is monthly. You charge clients monthly, you pay bills monthly. Let's break it down to $1 million a month. For me, the key big milestone for us was $100K a month.
Okay.
And we hit that 2 years ago, $100K per month in revenue. Then you want to get $100K a month in profit, but let's start with revenue. So for us, we started from $10K a month to $20, $30K a month, $50K a month, and then boom, $100K a month. So for us, the journey, the first $10K a month for you as well watching is typically how can you, so with no capital, assuming you don't want to raise capital, right? I mean, if you can raise $100 million, boom, like that, you already have your $1 million. Like, you just go to the market and raise the money from investors. But if you want to build a bootstrap like we did, the thing is, how do you get to your first $10K a month? For us, it was just selling my skills. I was an IT project manager. Okay, you want to do the same thing I do? I could train you on that. So I looked at my skills of leadership, communication, teaching, and then actually being a really good project manager. So I built a project management bootcamp, and we got to $10K a month in a short time from doing that. Right? Anyone can do that. This is our first promise to you at Founder Studio. Take your knowledge, productize that into a service, and then make a good offer and start selling. Now, scaling from $10K to $30K a month now involves starting to have teams, because imagine you're doing everything yourself, all the marketing, all the sales, all the fulfillment. You're just in fulfillment hell. You can't. What happens is that they get a few clients, they get $30K a month, and then they're fulfilling on those clients, and they stop selling and marketing, and then money runs out. Now they go back into marketing again and selling, and then they stop fulfilling on the old clients. Now they're in this whole weird loop. And so to stabilize your revenue and scale from 10 to 30 a month, it typically involves having a team. Now, 10K a month, who can you really hire? The solution typically is outsourcing or fractional contract staff around, first of all, software your operations. So as a founder, your goal is to ensure that you keep selling and marketing. That's where money comes in, right? And kind of outsource some of the parts of your business, or hire for a lot of the operational roles, all the administrative things, and some fulfillment of your service. Now, once you stabilize that, you want to stabilize marketing as well.
Okay.
So that revenue can come in even when you're not there as well. That was the big thing for us. So we started to hire salespeople, and there's ways to hire salespeople. Like, if you tell me I can't afford a salesperson, I'll tell you can't afford not to have a salesperson, because they make you money. Mm-hmm. So if you never hire a salesperson, you're doing all the sales yourself, right? And then if you ever stop, again, now the money stops coming in. Again, now it's not yet a system. And so stabilize operations, then have sales and marketing outside of you to a degree running. And then from there, that's what we did, right? We hired sales and marketing leaders. And then from there, scaling to like 50K, 100K a month is now being able to scale that and really have a channel that gets volume.
Okay.
Volume of people seeing what you're doing, volume of people having sales calls with your team, and volume of leads essentially and closes. So now that meant scaling out our sales team from one salesperson to, at the highest we had 6. I think it was too much. We had to cut down, let go of a few poor performers. Yep. And that's one thing, guys. Don't be too scared to let go of bad performers. You're not performing well, probation, PIP, after a while, sorry, we gotta let you go. This is a business, right? And so we had to scale our sales team. Now, that's not always easy, but that's what we help with. There's scaling frameworks to hire the right people, manage at scale. And that's really it. So it's like stabilize, first of all, then start to delegate, and then just scale out as you go. So just do more of what works to get the 100K a month, and that's how you get the $1 million a year, from our playbook at least.
I love that. I love that. So now, just to like wrap up, how can people connect with you? How can people follow your work if they're curious about like Founder Studio and just your LinkedIn profiles?
Start with that.
No, I'll let
Okay.
you.
So
I'll just add one last thing when you're done.
Okay.
Sure. So if you are looking to scale your business, to launch a business, we focus on service-based businesses. So you want to launch a done for you service, fractionalize what you're already doing at work and do it on the side for other people. Or you want to start an agency. So coaching, consulting, agency, done for you services is what we do. We don't do product or software. You can hit up skillhat.ca, book a call with me and my team, a discovery call, it's a free diagnostics call, to understand your biggest constraint, your biggest bottleneck, and see if we're fit to help you solve that. Again, skillhat.ca. You can message Mo Ekujimi on LinkedIn specifically. I check all my messages, and I typically have a very fast response rate. So if you want to message me, I will see it and I will respond. So have no fear. I'll respond. Not have no fear, but like don't hesitate. You know what I mean? Hit me up on LinkedIn, Mo Ekujimi on LinkedIn, and skillhat.ca.
Yeah. What I just wanted to add before we go is, we've talked about the length and breadth of a lot of things that we did, when we started, and we still do. But one of the things that we didn't touch on is, before you start any business with anybody, I'm a person of faith, right? And I don't know, whatever you believe in, it's okay. But I believe in Jesus. So what was one of the things that we did was, before we started this business, we took it to God in prayer, right? We still pray about our business every single time. And one thing I say to people is the marketplace is the marketplace, just as the name depicts, marketplace. And when you're in the marketplace, there's so many things that are intercepting, whether it's the forces of demand, whether it's forces of supply, whether it's spiritual forces, whatever force is intercepting, you have to ensure that you have an understanding of all the forces and you're able to prepare so that you overcome. Because when your business begins to scale from 0K to 10K to 30K to 50K to 100K, trust me, those forces, those spiritual forces are not going to let you scale easily. So, like I said, I believe in Jesus. So what we did was we had time to pray. We had a scripture, an anchor scripture. When things get tough, because it really does get tough, we're not going to sugarcoat it. There are times in business where you'll be wondering who sent you, right? So when you get to those times, we have our anchor scripture, we wheel it out, we affirm it, we decree and declare it over the business, we do all those things. And that has encouraged us beyond the actual results in the business. It has encouraged us and encouraged our belief that this thing can work.
I love that. Absolutely. Do you mind just sharing what the anchor scripture is?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Isaiah 41:10.
Okay. Yeah. Just
what does it say?
You don't have to.
They'll check it. Don't worry.
They'll check it. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever platform, don't forget to give us a follow and 5-star rating. Thank you.